Hello, welcome back. Kite making a load of noise in the background. Never mind. Another episode of Bob. Sorry, folks. I did say I wasn't going to turn the ignition issues into a mini-series. It's ending up that way. Yeah, I'm going to get to the bottom of this misfire in this episode, and also maybe go out for a first drive. First drive since 2006 in Bob on the road. Enjoy the video. What a bastard of a day. Right, while my dad's car is in being painted, this is all, all my dad's car is over here. I've got Bob and I'm trimming this thing out at last. So the seat back is out at the moment, but I've done the arches, so all of the wheel arch trim, floor trim, everything's come from Trevor at Nationwide. The side panels I think came from Famous 4. The trims that go over there and on the doors as well, but again it's probably, oh my goodness. Right, we've got the interior lights working. Oh yes, push the plunger in, woo, and they're off and they're on again. And they also operate from the switch down here. All the wiring around the centre console is now finished. I still need to wire in, which is what that bundle of wires is there. I need to wire in the heated rear window. I can't figure out the park for the rear wiper. I will do, it will happen. I've just cleared the floor up because we're expecting biblical tonight, so I'm just clearing all the cardboard and stuff off the floor because I don't want to come in to a fucking great mess tomorrow. This is all stuff that's going to go back into Bob, so I shall pop it in Bob for now. Let's pop that over there. Yeah. Carpets look nice though, good match to the seats. Look alright those. Shame these seats aren't still the gold colour. They'll do if you brush them a little bit. They need a damn good clean. I've got Monster Valet coming. Blue light over there is the USB charger adapter thing. Yes, my list is shortening and growing at the same time. So we're crossing things off. Quite a few things are being crossed off. Still need to do the tailgate seal, it's not working properly. Seal tread plates, usual stuff. And then, of course, then the list grew into this page yesterday and today. I was saying, no, that was Monday. I just had to sort the pedal rubbers out for the MOT, I suddenly realised. Fuel tank still not working. Still need to just go through and do the final tune on the engine. I've got a load of trim clips turning up so I can put the A-post trim on. The odometer doesn't reset on the dashboard, but it's got to come out anyway. Bastard thing, having put it in, it's going to have to come around again. I've got a gap around the bottom tailgate, sun visors, blah blah blah. The list goes on and on and on. And then today, what does that say? Oh yeah, fit refurbished radiator, rear seat back, stereo, glove box, small heater knob. I've lost one. Oh dearie me. 10 to 7, I'm going home. I've had enough. Oh my goodness. It's this phase of the project that is just so massively time consuming. I mean, okay, I've had 3.5 days off this week to do my dad's car, and that was time consuming. Prepping one of these things, I tell you, it's not a small job. Yes. I've still got to go and polish this thing yet. I haven't polished it yet. I might need to wash it first. Anyway, it's enjoying a bit of solo time in the workshop. My dad's car's coming back in there again tomorrow, so it'll be a bit crowded, which is why I want to try and get some of this interior finished, so there's less crap really around the floor, and the car's in a better state of completeness. It's Friday again. Bob's being picked up by his owner on Wednesday. Got a little bit of work to do, but not much. My dad's car dying his back, fresh from paint. But we're here to talk about Bob. So I've got all the rear seats in. I've got all of the dusty. I can't open it because I've locked it. Where's the keys gone? It's not a good start really, is it, Richard? Wrong keys. What an absolute buffoon. Try that again now we got the keys. What an anus. You can't make this shit up, Richard. You really can't. You're rubbish at this. Which way? There we are. That way to open it. So you can see carpet on the rear arches. Look at that. That's nice, isn't it? All fitted in. Carpet underneath the rear seats, all tidied up. Still, you know, relative chaos in the back of the car here. I've got the original metal sliders that go on there, metal channels that go on there. They need a refurbish. That'll happen tomorrow. I've booked a detail in an interior deep cleanse. It's been booked in for Tuesday afternoon. So I've got until Tuesday 2 PM in order to finish this piece of cake. So what do I start to do? Well, I start by immobilising it. So in order to pass the MOT, I had to pinch the radiator out of my dad's car, Diana. Sorry, Dad, it's there, it's going to go back in again. You get fresh antifreeze as well. And the original radiator I have been called. So Frank over at Viking Radiators has done an absolute sterling job again for me. He's done a couple of radiators for me before on Range Rovers. He did the radiator in Alan, and now he's done the radiator in Bob. Project names, of course. This is an original metal fan cowl, but it was already broken at the bottom here. This is one that came off Project Red Shed, and the owner rejected that. So what I've basically done is the cowl is largely intact around the sides and around the top, which is really where you want it. It was broken at the bottom for now, so I've just tied it up along the bottom edges there, and you can actually get the fan, the viscous fan, because it's slightly larger diameter than the metal fan. So I've had to just clear that, and now the fan clears inside here, which is good news. Now all I'm going to really do is pop this rad into the motor. It amuses me no end, but I have to edit out profanity as I'm editing the videos, which is, it's not a laborious process editing these videos out, but it does brighten my day up a little bit when I have to edit out extreme profanity. It just makes me giggle. Good Lord, Richard, did you really say that? Right, let's drop that down there. That is down there, that's good. And that is down there, that's good. In. He's in. It's not a front suspension arm, so it doesn't have to go up to 45,000 foot-pounds. Get some satin black up there, aren't I? That's silly, Richard. How I managed that. That's good. Right, now, bottom hose. Does it fit? Does it reach? It does reach. It does reach. Good effort, that. This is the radiator that someone had angled around the bottom pipe off. And Frank has welded a stub onto it. Well, not welded, soldered a stub onto it at right angles. That appears to have done the trick. Thank you, Frank. Right, that goes there. Right, let's go and get the cowl. So I've designed this cowl now, you see, with the because it was compromised anyway. There was no real harm in further compromising it in order to allow it to be fitted with the viscous fan already in place, because normally you have to take the viscous fan off in order to get this out. So that's there. Right, let me now, I need to go and get the two fixings of this. Here. I'm going to do that while it's sitting there actually. I'm going to get these two mountings off the top here that go on the top of the radiator. That's what I'm going to do. And then I'll come back to you as I'm putting them on the other radiator. sure you can tolerate. These bolts, by the way, super short, super stubby, super little. If you get really long bolts in there, they're going to puncture the core, and then you'll be swearing. You will be swearing. You can even see, you can, sort of. Let's raise you up a little bit. You raise me up. No, it's not going to happen. Looking forward to my gin. It is gin o'clock. Right, that's in there. So what I do is I tighten this onto here. Just go over with a rattle can. Just tidy up around the edges. Bit of satin black. Right, does the viscous, oh, the viscous fan's touching. So what do we need to do here? Probably undo this one here. Let's move that out of the way. Now, that's good, like that. So what I'll do is tighten this one up. Water's now dripping down the back of my neck. I'll just drop one. Screw. Yep. Perfect. Fuck. Wanker. Let's drill this now and put a bloody welder bolt into it. What a... Actually, no. I think what I can probably do here is just put a nut and bolt straight through. I don't need the cammed fixing here. That's bloody typical, isn't it? What a twat. I like to look at both sides because then at least I can get smart, new looking fixings on there. What's actually happened there is broken the weld. I think it might just be bonded on. Oh, it's threaded. That's weird. It's just come unbonded. It's not sheared. I think that might have been fixed at some point. Right, let's go for a nut and bolt. It's going to be an easy solution. Straight through. Nice big fat washer in between. This is how, like, even a 2-minute bloody job can take half an hour. This is what happens, folks, I'm afraid. Pair of washers, pair of splitties, pair of bolts, UNC. Let's take this bastard off as well while we're here. It's going to get wet in a minute. It's a massive tool. I need to get a new rag cap for this thing, but this thing seems to work, just doesn't look very pretty. Trouble is, the new one will be Chinesium, and that will be kind of used old, very used old. So I'll clean up the top with a bit of steel wool. It'll probably come up beautifully. Bit of steel wool. £15 cap. Made in England. Wax stab. Tighten slowly. No, remove slowly, you fool. Might be inclined to keep it actually. It's quite sweet that. Certainly not going to get chucked in the bin. There we are. Very nice. Patina. You can't put a price on it. Right then, keys. Let's start up. connect the battery. Oh, well, that's delighted me. Misfire's back. That's good. That's good. That's good. I think I'm going to change plugs, actually. I'm not going to grab hold of these leads just yet. I'll put some coolant in there. I can go in there. That's in there. Right, let's go on. Let me turn off and just double check these two leads. Like I said that, I walked back towards the car and it's running beautiful. Yeah, front cylinder's now firing. I'm going to change the plugs on the front. I'm actually going to change all the plugs. That's now working. I think the plugs are the wrong spec. Sunday. Not hungover. Right, I'm going to try and get to the bottom of this misfire issue. So, yeah, let's just walk through what I've been doing. So, in a nutshell, I've had all the plugs out. I've double-checked all the gaps on all the plugs. They are NGK BP6ESs, which is actually quite an old plug. So I've ordered a set of new plugs because I'm not convinced it isn't a plug issue. Now, what I did notice was that yesterday when we had the misfire, the two front cylinders on each side were causing me difficulty. So I double-checked the carburetor distribution. And as I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong here, each carburetor deals with the middle two cylinders on each side and the outside two cylinders on the opposing side. Which would make sense because you see this carburetor is dealing with these two and then it's got these branches going out to the outer two and vice versa, vice versa. Some of the plugs were wet, some of the plugs were coked up, and some of the plugs were beautiful. So it's almost as if, I don't think it's leads. I've been through and I've double checked all the leads as you've seen in the previous video or earlier in this video. I'm losing track of my life. Pretty sure it's not the distributor cap. I mean, the main thing we've got here is, I mean, there is some arcing going on in there. It's not the best, is it? This is new cap and rotor as well. Ooh. Oh, that's odd. Right, a bit more investigation in here, I think. Let's turn you round. Right, okay, so let's pull these leads off. I've got the screws to go in there. Now, the centre pin is good, but the problem I've got here is oh, come along. There it comes. Oh. Sometimes these rotors, they cause problems. This one, I think that what I've actually just done here is I've lifted this off the bloody... It's actually quite a common fault, this. So it's probably worthwhile me going over and explaining what happens. When you lift the rotor up, what actually happens is you pull the rotor up and you disconnect the mechanical advance, which is exactly what I've just done here. So I'm kind of at a loss now. But here you can see on the end of the rotor, tip of the rotor, I've got some burning. And on the inside of the cap, there's quite a lot of, it's actually not burnt, there's quite a lot of carbon in here. I don't know why. That's weird, isn't it? Maybe it's not the plugs. Maybe I'm talking a load of bollocks. Right, let's take you off there. Take you off there. Push you. Oh, for heaven's sake, what are you doing, Richard? I don't know what I'm doing. Anyone know what I'm doing? Can anyone help me with what I'm doing? Now, the danger is, I guess, that the plugs that you're getting the carbon on, the contacts in here, are the ones where the leads are not firing properly. Thinking about this logically. So there's a reasonable chance then that we do still have a plug issue, but because the spark isn't occurring at the plug, I'm guessing that, oh, I don't know, I'm chuntering. Right, so the distributor cap is the right way out of the way. Now let's undo these 3 screws here, because basically what's happened here is I have lifted up the centre shaft, which is free, but now what's actually happened is I've shifted the busted Lington. Ah, oh, I don't even know what I'm talking about today. Might be time for a beer. I'll undo these 3 little screws here on the cover that says do not under any circumstances remove. I don't even know if, can you see? I'm working here. No, you can't see. That's not flipping good, is it? So let's go over here. Stand on. So you've got this see-through plate on top of the distributor body, which has all these threatening statements about no serviceable components inside, etc., etc., etc. So we'll undo these 3. Dun dun dun. He's off. Then underneath we've got the 3 posts that those 3 screws went into. So then the next thing to come off. If I can find the screwdriver, I'll find the coffee. There's the coffee. Now if you do this, what will basically happen is when you put the distributor cap back on again, the rotor will be too high because that's not seated back down again. And the issue then is that because the rotor's too high, it pushes too hard against the carbon brush on the inside of the distributor cap, and then will cause you excessive wear, but also your mechanical advance will not be working. You may not even be able to get the cap down, and the distributor's just not going to run correctly. So if you do lift off the rotor arm and you pull up the centre shaft like that, ta-da, if your shaft comes out, then you need to fix it. Now, because I'm doing all of this, it's unlikely I'll need to reset the ignition timing, but it's a possibility. Now, I have replaced this circlip already because they are a wondrous pain in the balls, because they, not that one, not that one, not that one, let's get the right circuit plier, that one. The holes in the factory circlip on here are too small. So we undo the circlip. I think I've jinxed myself really, haven't I? Because I said in the last episode I wasn't going to turn this into a mini-series. I got the fuel level gauge working yesterday, so that's all working. Now underneath here is a metal washer. There's the metal washer. You've missed nothing. Metal washer comes off. And underneath is a bloody great big O-ring, which comes off. And then after that, what comes off is the actual serrated washer piece. Now what it's trying to do is lift the whole bloody shaft up here, because this is a little bit, there he comes. Looks a bit cack-handed, and it probably is, folks. All I'm doing is just wiggling this There we are, he's off. And that's the trigger there for the ignition. Okay. Now we should be able to lift off the base plate. And we can. That just flips over there. No need to take anything else off. And what I can see now is that all the springs and everything have come off in here, so I can actually lift the entire shaft off. Yeah, that was good work, Richard. That really was good work. There's a bush that goes on there. It's all looking a bit khaki in there, actually. No, it's not. It's just... So a bit of cloth. To another distributor. Basically, the two springs are a different weight, which I knew about anyway, but these two posts are slightly further apart on one than they are on the other. So I swapped it around, turned it around, and that is what is going to happen. Right, now we can put this thing back together again now. So when you put the base plate back over the top, make sure that the pin on the top half of the base plate goes back through the vacuum advance. Otherwise, the vacuum advance won't work. That's through. And then we need to put in the 3 posts again. So these are the posts that secure the base plate, but also then have the fixings for that top kind of splash plate, see-through splash plate that says, under no circumstances ever venture south of this plate. I won't whiz them up too tight yet because I want to make sure that they go in. And then I'm going to put the chopper, whatever you want to call it, on. And then I'll check the air gap. Now the air gap is actually defined in the manual, believe it or not. I think it is anyway, I've seen it somewhere. The Haynes Pack of Lies, chapter 13. Bom, 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 bom. 13 index, probably where that tab is there, isn't it? It is. Okay, look at that. Ignition. Conventional electronic ignition. Does it give me air gap? Pick up air gap. So 8 to 14 thou. That's 10 thou. Okay. So what I'm actually doing is I'm measuring between the tooth. Can you see? You can. Measuring between the tooth there and the pickup. And that's what I'm measuring in between. This goes in now. It didn't go in before. It now goes in. And that's a 10 thou 0.25mm non-ferrous feeler gauge. Pop that back over here. They're not for now. I picked them up earlier on. I'm driving home today and I'm going to be drinking them when I get home on a Sunday. Right. Having done that, again, I'm not happy with that, but tough. Right, let's see what happens next. So big old O-ring goes back over the top. And then I've got these 2 shims. One's a washer, one's a shim. Probably both shims. That goes on. That goes on. Bloody great big clip. This is not a factory one, this one. This is a reproduction, whatever it is, Itchy Fanny 5000, because the factory one, the holes are far too small for my bloody great big I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. Whatever these are, circlip pliers. Has that actually gone into the groove? That's gone into the groove. Yes, it has gone into the groove. It's certainly down. I don't want this stuff flailing around, you see, if in the event that if this clip comes out, stuff starts flailing around inside the distributor. It's going to be held in place by the rotor, but it's not going to make it very reliable, is it? Yes, it's definitely in the slot. I can feel it. Okay, so that's in the slot. That's good. Then we put this base plate, and the words are, do not remove this cover. The distributor is factory set and requires no adjustment in service. Well, I'll tell you what, it fucking does. Air gap set, mechanical advance fixed, keys, torchy, all tools out of the way, everything connected, good. Ignition on, clear prop. Neutral. Already sounds better. Again, using the old trusty bastard. Now what I did, when I pulled the plugs out of the injector, I put number 1 plug in number 7, I swapped them all around. Now the problem I've got is number 7 is not firing. The others are all firing. So 1 is working, 2 is working, sorry, 1 is working, 3 is working, 5 is working, 7 is not. I did exactly the same over here. So good job I get these new plugs coming tomorrow. 2, 4, 6, 8's not working. Actually, 2, 'They're all sort of working on this side. I'm wondering if this is right. So next thing I'm going to do is warm this thing through, and I'm going to give it a double check the tune on the carburetors. Bear in mind that was a cold start. Also good. Right, on screwdriver next. What's that? What basically it's doing now is lift up the dashboard inside the carburetor. Just lift it the width, so put that underneath the dashboard and turn it that way. That gives you enough of a lift. Basically, I want the revs just to drop very, very slightly for the engine not to stall. That might be a bit late, that one. This one. Just turn this one up a slightly, yeah? But overall, there's not a lot wrong with the mix of the gas. Turn this up. The revs are going to change because I'm pushing down on the dashboard to find the, there it is, right, half a turn. The top there is because it's all over the dashboard, I don't want to be chucking it all over the engine. That's a bit more urgent. I've already done that. Let's try again. Again, screwdriver underneath the dashboard. That's good. Recovers quickly. This one. Happy that first two, because I think as far as the picture's concerned, it's good. Dash pocket. Right, now we need to get a meter. Then we get just a spectrometer. We wedge him in each house. 11. 11. They're playing on. I've got it's going to be plugs. It's going to get changed. I'm not changing any of that. That's good. That's good. Ow! Bonnet, not very friendly. Right, so start up again. And we'll just double check the airflow. Not a lot wrong with that, is there? Airflow, same, and the same. Perfect. Right, let's got that. Right, this connects the vacuum parts. For about 60 degrees. Well, it's up in sector. That's sweet enough though, isn't it? Reconnect the vacuum parts. Check the vacuum parts. Working beautifully. About 4.5 that edition filing. That's what the manual says. Probably should have checked it. Ignition. 4.1. Between 3 and 5, basically what it says. It's whatever kind of it feels happy with. Good engine. Good engine. What a good engine. Who's a good engine? Who's a good engine? I'm a good engine. Let's take this out, put this back in the container. Just in case you were wondering, this is my delightful box of tacho dwells. You set the dwell using that and 8 cylinders, okay, and then you've got the 8 RPM. Does a big scale and a small scale, so you fine tune. So basically that will work on the big scale, the 5,000 scale, and then that will work on the 1,000 scale. Yeah, but I use this to set, when I've got the points distributors, I use that to set the dwell as well. Very nice bit of kit. I picked it up off eBay for about 20 quid. I'm going to argue with that, I'll tell you now. Right, it's all back together again. I've had an interesting afternoon diagnosing kind of little electrical issues, so things that aren't working. One of the things that's not working is the handbrake warning light isn't working. I know I'm pointing at the pressure warning switch, differential or whatever it is switch. What do they call it? They call it a shuttle valve for the brake switch. So because you've got dual circuit brakes here, that switch sits in between the two circuits. It doesn't interfere with those circuits, but if the pressure disappears on one of those circuits, then the shuttle will move, short out the cable, and light up the light on the dashboard. So that's the way that works. Now, that little bastard is right there. Look at that. That little fella there. So it's got basically 2 pins on the outside of it, which the 2 black and white wires go to, and then it earths through the handbrake warning switch. But it also earths through the switch. Check the switch. Switch works fine. Okay, check the cables. Cables work fine. Check the continuity for the big connector that's on the bulkhead up here. Works fine. Right, okay, let's just trace the black and white wire back. Oh, it goes to the back of the instrument pod. So I need to get the instrument pod off anyway because the lights aren't working on it. The illumination lights, that is, aren't working on it. So I'll get that sorted out. Then I started faffing around with, there's an inline fuse by the fuse box. I can't be bothered to go around there and show you now, but it is a brown and white. So I could spend all day going through the brown and white. So what I've done, years ago, I did this. So basically I created every single circuit, what the source and destination was. Here we go. So we go down here and we look down here for the source, brown and white. NW is what we're looking for. Oh, there's one. Pickup point for the radio. Let's go and have a quick look. Pickup point for the radio. Well, there's the pickup point for the radio there. Oh, but hang about a second. It branches off and goes into 68, which is ammeter, vometer, but also, what was the other thing it went into? 56. 56 it goes to, which is the ignition starter switch. So I'm thinking, well, this is a bit odd. I don't understand it. Why have I got an inline fuse for those? So then I go back to the correct diagram. What I got on this, that's the pickup point for the radio, 48, which is listed on here, 48, pickup point for radio. But the heater's on this circuit as well. So I can see this brown and white wire comes all the way down here. There we are, brown and white, 65, inline fuse for heater. There we are, inline fuse for heater. And then just after 65 is the heater unit. There we are. So pull the fuse, heater doesn't work. Put the fuse back in, heater works. So there you go. So I found out what that inline fuse is for. I probably would have remembered. My book's fallen apart. But that would have done that. But this thing is quite useful when you find a wire and you just cannot work out what the hell it is. If it's got a voltage to it when the ignition's on, then I go down the source side. If it hasn't got any voltage, then I kind of go down the destination, and it gives me an indication about what it's involved. That's my useful little thing there. If you want a copy of that, you can just drop me an email, maybe share a beer with me for my hard work there. The other thing I didn't end up using that stag breather pipe. I just stuck a spring down the inside of the existing pipe, and that's maintained its shape now. So there's no crimps or kinks or whatever you want to call them on that. Right, so we have done with all of that. I'll put it all back together again. Let's just see whether we actually start. We've got the battery on. We've got the battery on. We've got the keys in. Oh, blower's on still. Let me just turn the blower off. There we are, blower's off. Ready? You see I've got the fuel warning, low fuel warning light working, and the fuel gauge is working now as well. The letters fallen off the inside, so that's like a lowercase L, a U. The E is dropped right down to the bottom here, and there's the other L. I might have to see if I can make that a bit better. It's not very pretty as it is. Cubby box went in as well. Look at that. Let's put the interior lights on. Oh, there we go. Interior lights are on. Woohoo! And then what I'll do also is I'll put the lights on. There's the lights on. Flick the panel lights on. Turn the interior lights up. Right, so we know we've got panel lights, but there's no panel lights in here at all. There's nothing. All the other panel lights are working, so the vomiter's working, the oil pressure gauge is working. Can you see? Camera's not pointing at anything. So I could see that these lights are all working along here when I activate the switch on the side here, but I've got no lights up on the pod up here, which is likely to be the connector on the back of it. So I'm going to need to take all that apart. And the other thing that's flummoxing me, perplexing me, let's just turn this thing off for a minute. The other thing that's perplexing me is the park for the rear wiper has stopped working. Oh, good. Fucking thing. I'll have to take it apart and investigate. Until then, probably need to concentrate on other bits and bobs. And that broke off the handbrake sensor. Bastard thing. So it's going to stay up there until I get a chance to do it. But for now, the misfire has gone, but I'm going to replace the plug because I'm fairly sure it's that's causing the problem here. Because certainly on this bank here, the problem with the cylinder not working followed the plug, not the lead or anything, or the cylinder or anything else. I followed the plug because I moved plug 1 to plug 7, and plugs 5 and 3 I just swapped over, and the problem went from plug cylinder 1 to cylinder 7. So it's a nice easy piece of diagnosis there. I'll replace all the plugs. Right, and now 4:45 on a Sunday, I'm going to go home. New plugs are in. Let's do a start and see if it makes a difference. So now you can look at the engine. I'm going to go and see if it makes a difference. Does it make a difference? Does it? Does it? What I'm going to do? So I'm going to get the keys first. Neutral. The battery. Donkey. I'm good at this, I tell you. That's immediately a world better. I can only assume that these BP5ES plugs were not compatible with the RN 9YCCs that should be in it. I'll double check that in a minute. But that started quite sweet, didn't it? Let's see if indicators work now. Put the key in. Oh, we got indicators. Let's check the function. And they do. Great. And let's try again. Cetius, Beltius. There we go. Reversius. Agenius. The key objective here, I'm going to go put some petrol in this thing, but also I want to put tracking set on the steering. It's a little bit all over the place at the moment. Watch the windscreen. In fact, it is dusty. All smells very new. I'm not going to go too fast because the tracking is a mile out. I can feel it.
think when it comes to things like, you know, specialist jobs like tracking, I don't have the equipment to do it, so I'll just take it to someone that does. Noodles of torque here, running at about 1500 RPM in 4th gear. Cancel. It's a job for me. Steering wheel's going to come off when I get back from the tracking anyway. Tracking is done. 2.5 miles out. See what this thing does now. Go back to the units. Petrol's gone up. Fucking expensive. Fuel gauge working. I don't know whether it's working properly or not though. I put 30 quid's worth in there. That's what I mean about these fuel pickup things, they're crap these days. Feels a lot better on the road. Like I say, the temperature gauge, I'm not happy with it. Fucking good squeak down there. I'm not convinced I'm getting full throttle here. Yeah, I'm not convinced I'm getting full throttle at all. Pulls well up to about 3000 RPM, then it slows off. It's funny how he's going faster in the 30 than he was in the national speed limit. Cretin. See what we could do here is we can get the GPS sorted out. Pull over and get this awake. So 21 is just below 20 on the gauge. About the same. It's not bad actually. It's going to need a recalibrate, I think. Let's go this way. I'm confused because the controls are on the wrong side for a Classic. Yeah, like gets to 3,000 and it bogs down. That's it, that's absolutely flat out. So it goes to 4,000 RPM. I just feel a bit peppier all of a sudden. Catch that red car up. Don't want to go over 3,500. Double checking this. Right, let's go back to the unit.